So we'll start off by saying, like, I'm Robert Franz, co-director of IOI.
I'm Robert Franz, co-director of IOI.
I'm Robert Franz, co-director of IOI.
Actually, why don't we say, I'm Robert Franz, you say I'm Jen Drake, and then I'll say, we're co-directors of the Idaho Orchestra Institute.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Oh. Oops.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Don't put two with them. They won't line up. Hi, everybody. I'm Robert Franz.
And I'm Jennifer Drake.
And we are the co-directors
of
the Idaho Orchestra Institute. Woo! And we are here with our faculty members. So we have here Bryan Hall. He is our violin professor. Brian Hodges, cello. Laurel Talley, violin. And Emily White, who is viola and our RA. And so I thought it'd be fun to talk to you guys a little bit about what we were thinking about IOI for this year and maybe in years to come. So, anybody, first question, what makes IOI so special?
You're looking at it.
Oh. Oh, I'm not editing anything.
Well, what makes IOI so special is the sense of community forged through taking a deep dive in a piece of music.
Also the opportunity to really focus in and be really intentional on one group of people and one common goal.
It's really interesting, actually, because we spend each year an entire week on just one single piece, which is sort of unusual for a camp because it gives us the chance to really sort of figure it out from top to bottom, side to side, and everywhere in between. So this year was a special year for IOI 2020 because of the pandemic. And so I'm wondering how we had to adapt IOI this year to make it was a little bit different than it has been in the past. Oh yeah. Well, so first of all, there's this. When we're inside, we're 6 feet apart and we're with our masks on. But what else? Bryan Hall, what has been different for you?
It was just the change of attitude because we're all coming from, this is all a new situation for us, and so we're coming in to try to do what we've done for years. And I thought that actually what was amazing to me is how quickly the participants and registrants adapted. And they seemed to bring great focus, great intention, and it felt just like a normal, a bit of normalcy in all of our in the crazy pandemic. So I'm actually really proud of the students this year. I thought that in face of this looming kind of scary thing that nobody really knows about, they found a way to really bring their best every day and respect the safety and health precautions that we're all trying to take to keep everybody as safe as possible and still make music. And I think that's really courageous.
Yeah. So Emily, as the RA, this must have hit you the hardest because you're generally taking care of people's health and well-being.
Right.
How did it change for you this year?
This year we focused on all of the other things that keep, instead of, curfews to keep kids safe, we were focused on hand sanitizer and all of the protocols to do that, and it's amazing how quickly the IOI students were able to adapt.
Yeah.
But we were also able to still do yoga and the things that help connect with the other part of health, of being mentally healthy and physically healthy, to be able to play so much.
So one of the elements of IOI every year is yoga and meditation. Jen, can you tell us about why that's so important?
Well, it's very important to take care of our bodies and our minds as we're taking a deep dive into a piece of music. Students will play for several hours a day, and if we're not focusing in on using muscles properly, people can get injured in a big hurry. And same with meditation. If we're really focusing in for a long time without working on ways to be centered, it's also very easy to get sort of mentally injured at the same time. So it's very important to be able to tap into those aspects.
I mean, as you can imagine, it's really intense to spend a whole week on one piece.
Mm-hmm.
This year it's been a Haydn Symphony number 42. I'm wondering if maybe Laurel, you want to attack what is so challenging about playing a Haydn Symphony?
In a socially distanced manner or in general?
Either, and both. I mean, it's...
Well, I would say in general, a Haydn symphony requires every single person to be super attentive and detail oriented because there's no place to hide. It's very open, vibrant music, and it's not particularly thick. So that's an inherent challenge in itself. And then you add the fact that we're all doing this without a stand partner for the first time for many, many of us. And we're doing it more spread out. So the demands on our ears and our attention are just huge. And I think all of our students have really learned in ways that perhaps they've never learned before through experiencing this piece.
Bryan, Hodges, Haydn is so challenging because it's so open, right? Like there's nowhere to hide ever.
Right.
How do you approach that?
Practice. It's attention to detail, and it's focusing a lot more on character and style rather than. I mean, the notes are sometimes can be challenging, but it's mostly the most challenging is style and character, making sure everybody's on the same page. Practicing it, it's pretty transparent.
Now you guys just played in addition, you, the quartet, always play a string quartet piece each year, and this year it's a movement of a Haydn string quartet. Talk to us a little bit about the challenge of bringing a string quartet to life as opposed to a symphony. What are some of the differences, and a little bit about the piece that we're going to hear you play?
I think that playing a string quartet, and there are some similarities, but the big difference is that you're both negotiating ensemble and a solo role. You know, there are parts where you have to really match everybody's sound and fit in the core of the whole group, and then there's parts where you get to take your moment to take the stage and let it fly. And with, as Bryan said, the texture in Haydn is so perfectly marked. He's like almost like a mathematician with the way that everything that he does is very intentional, and yet he slightly deviates from that to give us that bit of humor. So it's negotiating both the style of Haydn and also the humor of Haydn without being the joke yourself, and which is very exciting. I think this movement particularly paves the way for the characters that we see in Beethoven and in Mozart, where they start to see that each member of the quartet definitely gets their moment to shine and has an integral role both as the ensemble and both as a solo player.
What's it like being the middle voice in a Haydn symphony or a Haydn string quartet?
Well, you have to be one part chameleon, so you're always trying to blend in and match something else when you're playing a Haydn quartet or a Haydn symphony, but then also one part soloist. So you have to have both sort of strands of DNA to be able to be that soloist and be able to be that person who's blending.
What is the name of the string quartet you're playing with?
It is Opus 76, number 5. It's the last movement, the Presto movement. And it's silly. It's very silly, but in a good way.
It's raucousy for sure. All right, my last question for you is a little bit tough, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What is a message that you have for future IOI students? Someone contemplating, thinking, I've heard about IOI. I wonder if I want to go. What's your message to them? Laurel?
Wow. I guess I will start. I mean, as a kid who was pretty much transformed into music through summer festival type experiences, I can really now turn around and as an adult see that IOI does the same thing that happened for me when I was young. And even like Bryan was saying, even to do it during COVID when it's so easy to be scared or apathetic or lazy or worried or any of those things, to be able to come back and engage and see that music kind of can carry on and persevere is just a really powerful message. So if you are a musician in your soul anywhere, IOI is a good place to be.
Emily, you see the kids, the students, they're not kids,
Right.
the students not only in the rehearsal space, but you often see them in their cabins and in sort of more social settings. What's your message to future IOI participants?
Just come and be ready with an open mind, and there's so many opportunities to make new friends and make new connections across the Treasure Valley and a broader sense, and meet different players and different backgrounds, and it's a great opportunity.
Bryan?
We work hard, we play hard, and make, I think, long-lasting connections, because I still keep in touch with people that I went to summer festivals with, and I imagine it'll be the same for people at IOI. It's a special very intensive, concentrated experience, and I think it's valuable for learning and growing as a musician, as a person.
What about you, Bryan?
I think it's a mandatory service that we're all doing here, and especially in face of this, we have to continue to establish that network. And in times like these, and in the challenging times, all the challenging times that we're facing right now, and our generations going to be taking over, it's going to be even more important for us to maintain these networks, whether you're going into music or it's just something you really love to do, that you establish those relationships, and that network is, like Bryan says, going to carry you through a lifetime. And for parents and for other people that teachers and stuff that are out there, this is a really great place to experience deliberate action and deliberate learning methods that I think will carry over into everything that we do. We as faculty really grow from getting a chance to work with the wonderful students that come here, and I know that the students that are coming here really have a great experience from each other, and from the experience they have here, and musically and spiritually, it brings them to a great place that gets them energized to take on the school year ahead.
What about you, Jen?
Well, summer camps and programs like this, intensives, really have the power to transform people and communities, not just musically, but personally as well. Oftentimes a kid who might be struggling in some ways, when they go to a summer camp, suddenly they're the cool kid, and like it's a fun time for them, and they have those opportunities to find their place in a society of accepting peers. And that's such an important experience, because we do serve a lot of students who are going to go off and be music majors, but we've just as many that aren't, that are just going to go and be lifelong supporters and lovers of the arts. And the best thing that we can do for them is to transform them into rabid fans that are excited about what it is we do, we're like trying to connect people through music.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it's what's always exciting to me is when I get a response back after an IOI where a student says, I had no idea there were so many layers to playing in an orchestra, and there were so many levels and so many experiences that they may not have had yet in their lives, or haven't had in a regular basis. So that for me is like, I mean, in addition to all these amazing experiences there, for me, that's one of the most incredible. So I hope that you'll consider coming to IOI 2021. And right now, I want you to enjoy Haydn's Symphony No. 42, performed by the Idaho Orchestra Institute 2020. Enjoy.
Woo!
Awesome, you guys. Thank you.